evening, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Part of the Pride Aston Villa Women podcast. Apologies, we're a few minutes late. We were just having a bit of a chat about what we're actually going to talk about, because it was a bit boring at the weekend, wasn't it? apart from our defeat, of course. One day we will be here to talk about a win. One day we will be here. Gary's already in the chat. Good evening to Gary. That's what we like to see. We miss your face, dear sir. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because, of course, yes, we're going to talk about the game, but we've also got some key talking points to discuss too, whether that's from questions we've had on social media. So thank you for those who've sent those in, or whether it's a general feeling throughout the fan club. So let's get started, shall we? Now, we all said, we needed points from this match, didn't we? I mean, last week we were very over the top, weren't we? Some of us predicted draws. Some of us predicted like 3-0, Emma. But it didn't quite go that way, did it? Especially when Everton still should be the teams that we're beating, taking points off. And unfortunately, no, it just didn't go that way, did it? So yeah, knowing fully how both teams are performing. Lindsay, didn't get a chance to speak to you last week. Going into it, did you think we had a chance of a point?
Yeah, I thought we had a good chance of taking something from the game for sure. It's a team that we can take points from. So I was just like, at the end of the game, I was like, what's just happened?
Yeah, how have we gone that long without actually doing anything? And I thought this really summed it up. There was a quote from the commentator, and he said, we just haven't seen the quality from Villa, but we know it's there. And that kind of has summed up our season so far, hasn't it, Emma? I can see you nodding there. It just... Yeah. What... I don't know. What do you think it is? What's not clicking?
We can't score goals. That's the problem.
We can't score goals, did you say?
Yeah, we just can't get the ball in the back of the net. But I think we've had so much change as well throughout the season. Like, we started with a new manager. We sacked him because he was making interesting changes and interesting lineups, which obviously didn't help the team because they weren't playing together. They weren't normally playing together in that way. Then we got Sean. And to be fair, he did a great job. Like, we were on the up. Then we got Natalia and came out against Chelsea, but then haven't come out against anyone else since, really. Because even though we won the Brighton game, it was still a bit like, it was a bit worrying.
It was still like a close game.
Yeah, it wasn't the most convincing performance to actually get through, was it? I think we were all surprised at that kind of stuff. Yeah, because that's one of the questions we're going to come to later about, has there just been too much change this season? And that's just had such a knock-on effect that we just haven't been able to recover. But we'll get to it because unfortunately, we do need to discuss this match. So we're going to look at start 11 first. A very good place to start. We had a couple of concerns. So, of course, there's been an international break. Thank you to everyone who joined us last week for the international special. And we knew a lot of our players had played a lot of minutes, hadn't we? And because, of course, we've had people leaving, we are lacking that depth, aren't we? So we knew, there might have been some strange changes. But Emily, I'll come to you for this one. When that lineup came out, what were your first thoughts? Because I think we were all kind of thinking the same thing, weren't we?
It was a lot. I was expecting it to be basically the same lineup as the previous game.
Yes.
And it wasn't. I was beforehand pleased to see, you assume that Rachel was going to play up top.
Yes.
Because Miri was obviously on in midfield. So you had sort of 3 midfielders listed. So that gave me hope. Because we've been wanting to see Rach play in her actual position all season. I was surprised to not see Lucy Parker in the starting lineup. Didn't really understand that.
Yeah.
And then, the back line in general confused me a little bit because obviously in the previous match against Leicester, she'd taken 2 of those players off at half time, and then has then put them back in the starting, in the back line for this match. I did maybe wonder if it's obviously she's had the whole of the international break to work with, like Sarah, who obviously was one of the players she took off.
Yeah.
But then Patsy's been away with Ireland, so that theory doesn't really hold water. So I don't know, really. It was just it was an odd one, and I was curious to see how it played out, and yeah.
And it did. It definitely played out, didn't it? Yeah. And the fact that we didn't see Lucy Parker come on at all, I thought, and I think most of us thought, okay, we'll get to probably about 60 minutes as we normally do, and then she'll come on, and then we'll see, she'll come on and make an impact. But still, there was nothing. So are we, because obviously we've had no updates from the club injury-wise, there's got to be something there, isn't there? Because she wouldn't.
Yeah, she wasn't injured.
No.
Anyway, like when she was doing warm-up, she came... I think it must have been before we made our final set of subs, which I guess we'll talk about in more detail afterwards. But when she was coming back, from the corner flag where they do their warm-up, she sort of looked up into the stands at friends or family or someone and made like a sort of face at them, like, this is where I'm at today, I'm not coming on. And you're just like, why?
Yeah, you want to know why? Because in what kind of plan is that okay? Like one of our best defenders. Now, interestingly, I love Nick and Gary are having their own little chat in the chat. Gary's saying, at the end of the day, correct, as frustrated as we are on the stands, the squad know their talent. They can do better, but we're playing so much negative football. We've got the possession, but using it to pass backwards. Now, my next comment was going to be on Katie Robinson. And I know we've talked about it ever since she signed. Where's that Brighton player been? Because I think that's kind of what we expected. And then she's never really performed to her best ability, has she? We've always been kind of wanting more. And the one thing I noticed throughout her time on the pitch, apart from 2 chances she had, she was always passed backwards. Did anyone else notice that?
She runs away from the ball as well. When she had the ball and the ball's played to her, she was actually running away from the ball rather than running towards it.
Yeah. And
I saw that.
So frustrating. Frustrating.
She does make some good runs, I think, and had again in this game, like same as the Leicester game. She does have a couple of like half chances.
Yeah.
I think another of the problems, which I wrote somewhere in my scribbled notes that I can't read, there was definitely at least once you looked up and like Robbo and Noelle seem to be in the same space, and I don't know.
Yes,
like, communication is an issue across the pitch, but like you've got Patsy with the ball and they're sort of trying to play up the left-hand side, but they're in like either one of them, whoever had the ball. Like I remember once Robbo had the ball and Noelle was stood about a foot away from her, like just behind her. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
what's she supposed to do with that?
And that's it. I mean, Sophie's named Sophie as well. She got told short by Maritz a few times. Yeah. And I even noticed as well, Maritz being higher than her at some points. I'm like, if you're that back line, Miri was the furthest back at one point. And I was like, no, where's our defense gone? What's happening? And you're absolutely right. It felt like I've wrote this down at some point in my many notes of what's going on, but it felt like they were trying to do like 3 onto 1 Everton player, then they win the ball back and they'd kind of look at each other like, okay, so what now? And it just very much, it felt like there was no bigger picture. And it was very much, okay, win the ball back, now what do we do?
Or even, if like if Robbo's made the run and pulled the defender out wide and then recycles the ball back to Miri in the midfield or whoever's just that slight bit deeper, then we don't seem to like have the next, like you said, a bigger plan. Like there's nobody then pings the ball into the space that's been created because she's made that run on that side. We just try and walk it in rather than I think that's one of the things, like on the Lucy Parker front as well.
Mm.
Like, we need that player that can put that ball in across, switch the play, a bit like Leah Williamson does, or
Yeah.
Kira Walsh does.
Commanding force
Yeah.
at some point, yeah.
And I think that's something that Lucy Parker has in her game, because she sort of plays defensive midfield as well.
Yeah.
And it's not something, I think, unfortunately, that Dan Turner has in her game. There's a lot of the time, when she would receive the ball, she'd look up, and then just the option was always to pass back or to pass across to Patsy. There was no like, Chastity's in space over there. I'm just gonna ping that ball over.
Yeah.
It was always like a play it safe and keep possession, but possession isn't winning us anything.
And that's the thing. Like, if we look at these stats, like, we had 59% possession compared to 41%. We had 14 shots compared to Everton's 8, 7 on target compared to their 3. Nearly double the amount of passes, a better pass accuracy. And you just think we have more corners, and we just can't seem to make anything of it. Like, there's no.
I think that's also where we miss Lucy Stan in midfield.
Yeah.
As that sort of holding player. And then that allows Jordan to be more attacking and to, like, get involved with the play up the right-hand side with Sarah and whoever's playing in front of them. And rather than Jordan having that sort of free rein to go forward, she's the one at the back receiving the ball from the centre-backs, and then we're just going around in little triangles at the back. Whereas, like, I think Lucy Stan's got that
drive.
Yeah, really, and that vision to look up and be like, this is where we're going with it. Yeah,
and this is what I was going to say. At the end, we've lost Kenza, we've lost Dree. They were two of our most creative attacking players, and if that one's bad enough, but losing two of those kind of players, it's really had a knock-on effect. And Gary, you run it tonight. It's not a one-player problem. Everyone can and should do better. Robert may have caused the damage to the squad. Now Natalia's having to pick up the pieces to try and rebuild that confidence. Yeah, because at some point, unfortunately, it looks like 11 players rather than a team, doesn't it? And that's, I don't know, it's hard, because how do you rectify that when so much change has happened within it? I do apologize for getting distracted, because I've just had a message from Chloe, if anyone watches the Wednesday pod. She's just sent me a message saying, we've just seen Rachel Daly on Crufts. She was chatting to Claire Balding with her dog. Rachel Daly's at Crufts.
Amazing.
With Dexy. So yeah, sorry. No, that just distracted me a second there. I was like, why is Rachel Daly at Crufts? She's got the dog.
Dexy.
Yeah, shout out to Dexy. Oh God, where were we? Yeah, so a couple of issues in the team, and of course we're 4 points above the relegation zone as well, which means our away trip to Crystal Palace, of course, has to be a win. It has to be, or else. No, we're not going to talk about it yet.
Let's not talk about that.
Let's
not think about that yet.
We'll stay positive. We'll stay on the game.
Shall we save that for half an hour's time?
Yeah, we will indeed. Now, so going back to, again, positions and kind of how things were working. Lindsay, I'll come back to you for this one. So Rachel Daly was back as her number 9. I know we've touched upon this briefly, but was it then working with Jordan Nobbs and Jill Byings? Because it still didn't feel like she was as effective, really. It's a game, we need 2 of her, don't we?
Yeah, because the positioning where she was, she's playing really deep, she's falling back again. And it was like, well, is that because you're told to do that? Or are you pulling back to draw the defenders out to create space for someone to run behind you, like we would with Dree and Kirsty, but there's no one there? Or are you playing deep because we need that support in midfield? Or because you're so used to coming back, that's what you're doing? It's really confusing, and it's affecting our scoring, because we've had this problem since her first season with us. We've had problems scoring, and it's been an age-old problem. No matter who the manager is, what the players are, we just cannot score. We seem to be cursed at the moment, and it's frustrating. And then having Jill and Jordan, it's almost like we're trying to shoehorn players in to replace Kenza, and it's not working. And what we really need is to have kept Kenza, and she will be able to do those balls. And yes, there are limitations to playing Kenza in midfield, but for what we need to play and the style that we play, it probably would be better if we kept her or tried to keep her.
Yeah. Or at least, like you said, not trying to shoehorn in because we physically can't recreate what she could do, but come up with a plan B and come up with a new attack. Because I spoke to Natalia on Friday afternoon before the game, and she said she wasn't worried that we had enough players to cover. But honestly, Emma, should we be worried?
How was she not worried when we were? That's what I want to know.
Said she.
Because
no,
I had sleepless nights over it.
No, I asked her, and she said, "Let's have a look."
Plus our bench has 3 players on, so that's another worry.
Yeah, it's not as bad when we thought we would have had to bring our boots. That was
yeah.
Okay, so I asked her about any worries with losing both Kenza and Dre. Says it always happens in some points of the season. Dre wanted to explore options. Of course, they are very good. I admired them. I enjoy having them play. They have good skills. But I think we have enough players now, and they are still committed with the goal we have and have the skills to be an offensive team. And whatever we lack, we'll find it in the next window.
What a whole team.
Enough players.
That's what she said. That she's happy. Well, she didn't say the word happy.
We've got about 5.5.
5.5. What with injuries? Just like if you put your top half and your bottom half, and then that works. And like a Franken. Yeah, the Franken team can work. But yeah, it is. But hey, let's get started on the match then. I haven't even touched that yet.
Going back to Rach playing number 9.
Yes.
In my opinion, I don't think she's been playing well all season.
No.
And I don't know if that's like a byproduct of trying to play in a different position, and it's just brought her whole game. She's thinking too much about the whole thing. But like, it's going to sound like I'm slating her now, but her touch is heavy a lot of the time, and she's always. I don't know. It just. Yeah. It just there's a lot.
Could it be the extra
trying to do a lot
responsibility of
and
captain?
it's not coming off? Say again.
Oh, what was that, Emma?
Could it be the extra responsibility of captain as well? Because she's been captain for most of the season, if not all.
Yeah, I don't know. She was captain at Dash.
But then again, she should be. Yeah. True.
I suppose if
it's players are allowed to lose form. Nobody can be at the top of their game all the time. I think it's just unfortunate because we rely on her so much. When that linchpin isn't perhaps playing at the same level as she is or has been, it's difficult for then everyone else to, if that's what you're building, your whole attack and your whole everything around. It's just difficult, and I
think that's why we need to not allow, because it really worked last season.
Yeah.
When she was sent off,
and
something clicked because we weren't trying to just get the ball to her.
Yeah, because she missed 3 games, didn't she? And then we beat Spurs during that period, and we won that Brighton Cup game on penalties.
Yeah, it's a hard one because we know what Rich can do. We know what all of them can do. We've seen it, and that's the thing, and we've said it before, we'll say it a million times, because we know what they can do. That's why it hurts more. That's why it's so more frustrating, because it's not like they're bad players and that's it. It's they're so much better, and when when we can't see that, we can see that they're getting frustrated.
Mm.
And then it did look at points that they were then taking it out on each other. And yeah, you shout at each other on the pitch. Of course you do. That's part of the game. We're not saying that you've got to be all, lovely, because no, absolutely not. But it does look like there's quite a bit of friction. And even last season, we said, they would post about like going out for meals together, and like there seemed to be a lot more bonding last season, or like seasons before. There has been, but it feels like this season, and again, I could just be bypassing everything, but it doesn't feel like they've been as a unit. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't posted on the socials as much either, have they? It's almost like
No.
they've been told to like calm it down or something.
Yeah, which sucks. But luckily, we get Maz's vlogs back, so we can get more of an insight. Into those.
So it's,
yeah, go on.
like, I can't remember what I was going to say. Nope, it's gone.
Wonderful.
Hang on, it might come back.
Okay, everyone focus really hard on. Oh my god.
I don't know. Oh, yes, about Rach playing We Rely on Her so much.
Yes.
So, if, like, nobody's on it all the time.
No.
You can't be on it all the time. You're going to have, like, weeks when things don't go as well or whatever. And I think because she plays every game for us, nearly all of every game for us, and she's the captain, and I don't know is she playing so much because she's the captain? Like, is that why there's a reluctance
Maybe.
to take her off, or to, not start her for one match and start Gabby at 9 and midfielders in midfield?
Yeah.
Are we doing that because she's the captain, or I don't know which, I don't know which way round it is, but I suppose, like you said, Emma, that's another sort of factor in her having the captaincy, is that because there's no if you've had a couple of games where you've not been at your best, there isn't that opportunity to not have a week off, but to take a step back and reset and I don't know, like, enjoy the game again. You sound like Ted Lasso. Like, it's a game. You're supposed to enjoy playing it.
Yes, and I think if it ever gets to a point where suddenly it's a chore and it's not why you started playing anymore, then take a step back and hopefully that door is open for her to have that conversation if she needs it. But then again, some players just they need to play and they need to be in and amongst it. You think even if she just said, "Can I just go play like an academy game?" It just like get out of like this mindset and just maybe rediscover.
And because the more we drop points, the more the pressure is to play well in the next game, and it's just creating like a spiral of trickiness.
Yes, and hey, we're all there with her on this one. I do love that. Sophie's just said, "My cat heard the podcast and appeared." So just a soothing call to all animals, and maybe children. A baby might appear at some point. Who knows? So yeah, it's just nice and soothing, guys. Well done. Our aura is clearly working now. So yeah, talk about the game, shall we? Now we dominated the first 14 minutes, and it was quite nice. Because Emma, you were there, weren't you?
I was.
Now, thank you. And we had the possession. There was even a couple of chances sprinkled in there, not great ones, but they were there. So starting off quite positive on the front foot. Did you still have hope at that point?
Yes, because we were running, like, obviously. We were making runs. We were making good runs. The only problem was we were making, which happened like throughout the whole game and has been a problem for most of the season, really, is the crosses. We'll cross into the box, but then there's no one there.
Yes.
Yeah, I was really hopeful because like we came out against Chelsea, which why can't we do that every week? Do you know what I mean? We've done it twice this season. Why can't we do it every week? It's clearly in there. But yeah, I've kind of grown into the game, and that point, though, to be fair. But
Yeah.
they have got some flipping amazing players. Like,
we're
the
going
pink
to talk about
Kelly
them. Don't you worry. And
can she just not have been on the pitch? Let's be real. But yeah,
that's it.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. Sophie's even dashed we had a dominant 14 minutes by saying, yeah, but we did give away 2 free kicks in the first 5. Yeah. I didn't say it was a positive. I just said we had possession. But yeah, it never felt like we were going to lose it, because Everton, as much as they had their good periods, it wasn't consistent from either team, was it? So I genuinely felt
they sat back a lot.
Yeah, they did. And you just think that should have been a draw, because neither team were really doing much. And we were both creating those chances, as we said before in the stats. So the first 15 minutes, we had some fairly tame attempts, nothing to really worry Courtney Brosnan. Courtney Brosnan, by the way.
Yeah.
Wonderful human in general, a fantastic goalkeeper, needs more praise. Just as a slight one, do we think if it wasn't Brosnan in goal, maybe something could have happened? I know we can't talk about
all of our balls went to Brosnan, though, so, well, like, majority of them, so.
But that's
probably not, really.
I feel like, our shots in general were pretty tame. There weren't any. I mean, yeah, there were a couple where she sort of had to dive and get it from the bottom corner, but they weren't,
Yeah, they weren't like obvious, like, oh, she had to, really tip it over the top or anything. Yeah. I mean, Nick's saying yes, but I'm not quite sure if there's a delay in the chat. I'm going for yes. Nick supports me. There we go. Right. So, Everton seemed to gain their momentum a little bit. Dan Turner put the ball out for a corner, and we thought, that's fine. Our defence is usually quite good. We can defend a corner.
I was actually, because they also didn't start Van Havermaet, did they?
Yes.
So I was like, oh, we don't need to worry about the corners yet.
And that's the thing. And I watched it, obviously watched the highlights, watched it back properly today. And last night when I was talking about it, I was talking about Van Havermaet. And then when I was watching it today, I was like, oh my God, have I got it wrong? She hasn't started. But no, the thing I was talking about was the second half. So it was fine. It was on the pitch. Because her and Stenovic are both very tall and have a long blonde ponytail. And it gets hard. So tall. Especially next to our Jordan.
When before the match, when they were like walking, the subs were walking to the bench, she's walking along, she's like 9 foot tall. And then one of our coaches walked along, like in the dip, the other side of the advertising boards.
Like she's on stilts.
Yeah.
Playing along. But yeah, so went out for a corner, and again, like we thought, yeah, we can do this. We can defend it. Now, so Stenovic, of course, took a very nice corner. Sabs initially punched it away, but Stenovic, of course, didn't just stay at the corner. No. She ran in like a good player does, crossed the ball back into the box for the rebound. Poor from Villa, wasn't it?
There were so many opportunities to clear that.
So many opportunities. It then comes out to Katie Robinson, who I did feel a bit sorry for, but it also was quite funny if you weren't a Villa fan. When she tried to clear it, she got the wrong angle. It went up and she lost it. She lost where the ball was, clearly looking all around, couldn't find it, then realised it bounced behind her, back into the penalty area, to the feet of Maren Mjelde. I would normally say lovely to say our back, but, who then chips it over the top of Sabs. And that was it. All went downhill from there, really. So that was in the 16th minute. Now, this was, of course, the start of Everton taking their chances. But yeah, what did we... Lindsay, I'll come to you for this one. Quite shambolic, that defending. Was that kind of it for you that I thought, oh no, was that what today's going to be? Or how did you feel?
I thought we still could put it back, because we've gone behind before this season in silly stuff like that, and we've gone at the other end and scored quite quickly after. So I was quite positive, but I was kind of like, oh, is it going to be another one of these days at the office? But I was hoping that that would just give them a bit of a shake. But the way they're all shouting at each other, you could just tell that the vibe just on the pitch just wasn't there. And when you looked at the players on the bench, they all looked really unhappy, and it was just like, this isn't a happy camp. So is this going to be a painful 90 minutes?
Yeah. And again, painful in different senses, because obviously, like, Leicester was painful. And Emily, I remember messaging you on the Sunday afternoon being like, was it as bad? And it was like, well, it wasn't that bad, but it certainly wasn't great, was it? So it's the thing, again, we've been saying it all season, we need to do more from set pieces. We need to actually create more and convert those chances.
Why do we keep doing short corners?
Yeah, because we had... So the short corner I'm thinking about in particular, it was when we had 2 back-to-back, didn't we? And you thought, 2 fantastic chances. Let's do something with it. No? Right. Okay, wait for the next one. Yep, fine. Now, to redeem Kate Robinson for Nick, this is just for you. She did have a shot just after the 20-minute mark to redeem her backwards passing. And you just think, if it was just over a couple more inches, might have curled in that bottom corner, but unfortunately didn't. From an Everton perspective, though, Stenovic and Tony Payne, fantastic players. Kelly Gargo, of course. And you just look at, again, the signings they made in that window, and you just think, if Villa could have signed even 2 new faces, even one, you just think how much of a difference that would have made instead of putting that extra pressure on the players that exist. But yeah, in extra time of that first half, Daly had a really good chance, didn't she, to pull one back again, but again went just wide. I've got a question. It's just coming into my head, so we'll see what you think. Rach, because her signature is a good header, I think sometimes it's the pressure of that, because a few headers now have gone very strange angles. So I don't know. Just think, again, is it that pressure of she's Rachel Daly, she should be scoring goals, she's captain? Just think it's all just combusting around her. Anyway.
I can't remember if it was this match or the Leicester match. Probably this one, because I feel like it was down the other end, and I couldn't really see down the other end at Leicester. I felt like there was an opportunity to put a ball in earlier, and they didn't. And then when they did end up putting the ball in, it sort of was just a floated ball with no power on it. And Rach sort of just knocked it down to Brosnan. And you're like, that was just a wasted chance. Like, you did all of that build-up, and in the end it was...
They just can't.
You either need, a directed cross in that just needs a little glance to put it past the keeper, or there needs to be some power on it. Because like we said, Brosnan's, 80% of the time she's going to get to the ball.
Yeah.
And it was neither. And
yeah, you need to
sort of summed it all up pretty.
Yeah, knowing the goalkeeper, as we do, and how good she is, you need to be more creative, don't you, rather than just...
It was like, they were looking for the perfect opportunity to tee it all up so that Rach could run in.
Yeah.
And it just was like, but why?
And Brosnan was just like, nope. Not a chance.
On set pieces, our set pieces have been just all season, they've been rubbish.
Yeah.
So I think that's got to be a wider... I don't know what happens in training, a wider coaching issue, because it's clearly not... we've had 3 different head coaches in that time.
And that's the thing, because it used to be... it would be Lucy Stan, wouldn't it? If she was...
Yeah, there's no consistency in who's taking them.
No. So we don't even have, the expert set piece do.
I don't know.
Yeah, it changes. Because then you get used to how someone does it, and...
It seems to be...
Sorry.
It seems to be like...
You know what? You asked to come on the pod.
Is your mom phoning me? Sorry.
Don't even mute yourself. It's fine. Right. Yes, Emily.
It's like, it doesn't go well one week, so they're like, it's like, hands up, who wants to try taking them next week? And then someone else, I'll give it a go. And you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, it's just like, we'll give it a shot, there is still relegation, guys, this season. That it is still there. It is still a looming threat.
Nick really wants to point out that we let Leanne go, and I think maybe she had something to do with set piece coaching. So maybe that is a factor. We were all slating her last year, but
yeah.
Yeah, but were our set pieces that? Oh,
I feel like they were better.
To be fair, anything's better than
Okay.
60.
Well, that's the thing, and again, you just wish she kind of knew who was in charge of what behind the scenes,
Yeah.
what goes on, and just even for a little bit, just to have a better understanding. Because at the minute, we don't get injury updates, we don't get any real backroom updates. It's very much we have what's on the pitch, and that's it. And it's like, okay, what do we do with this information? Not a lot. But yeah, hey, no, Nick's adamant she was set piece and goalkeeper expert. So there we go. Heard it here first from.
Well, the goalkeeper thing didn't work, did it?
Hey, now Nick's told us we can't disagree. Now, Nick did have some thoughts earlier, and so did Sophie. So I'm just going to grab those up and just see if there's anything we haven't already talked about before we get into the second half. Yeah, so Nick, I'm gonna steal you a bit now. So Nick says the starting lineup finally allowed Rach to play in a 9. Not sure Jordan was in the 10 over Jill, but we'll go with it. That would be able to see her play forward and be available in the box for the runs from Robbo and Chastity, and be able to run onto the end of any playmaking that Sarah and Jordan do as well. But as we said earlier, still sat too deep and ultimately wasn't there to convert any of the chances, which is what we said earlier, wasn't it? And interestingly, Nick does say, now not sure that making Rach a 9 again was the solution that we thought we needed. So yeah, what do we think? Should she still be in that 9, or is she better a bit deeper? Has anyone got any thoughts?
I think she's better in the 9, but I just think in general I don't know. Yeah. I did think that maybe moving Rachel forward was the answer. But like we said, that's maybe with the caveat that you've got the creative player like Kenza still in midfield, and we don't at the moment.
Yeah, if you've got that good, strong midfield behind you, then
But that doesn't obviously then it doesn't mean that Rach is the answer, because that's not working either.
Nope. Nope. No, it is not. Yeah, it's just, again, it's frustrating because you think one thing will solve it and then it happens, and then no, it does not. She does also end with Sunday could be a thrashing, which we'll talk about in a bit, but hey, positives. We're gonna go for it. Right, second half then, shall we? So 1-0, and you think, okay, we're still not out of it. We can still get a goal back. We're having the chances. And then Sabs gets taken off after a boot to the face. After she goes to save a ball, Dan Turner also goes to give the ball back to her, essentially. And as Sabs dives, she collides with Dan's foot, which did not end well. We hope she's okay. Our nose looked pretty out of it. Yeah, did we think it could possibly be a bit of a concussion as well, people who were there?
She definitely looked
a
bit
colour
wobbly and pale when she sat on the bench for the rest of the match with the with the medic physio. But yeah, she was not
good
completely there.
Now, however, it did lead to Caitlin Talbot's first ever WSL minutes. She hasn't actually been on the pitch for WSL time at all. She did make an appearance in the Cup for Spurs, I believe, but yeah, hasn't been actually in any league action.
Wait, which Cup?
Oh no, not with Spurs. So
okay, with Spurs. Okay, it's like, hang on, what's happening next?
Play, but she was Spurs before that.
We're just going to go into Sunday with no goalkeeper.
2 seasons ago. It's fine.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. Imagine if she was cup tied.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. But look, she's not, guys.
Okay.
She's not. Panic over. Now, apart from the thing that happened, is this an opportunity? Obviously, we don't want Sabs to be injured, but did we see enough good bits apart from that moment that we think, okay, if she gets more settled, gets into form. Emma, are you excited to see what else she can offer in that
I think
role?
if she has more than 30 seconds to warm up, she'd be really good. Because obviously she'd been sat on the bench for,
Yeah.
it was
Oh,
like,
the
what,
court one.
50 minutes or something like that?
Mm.
Yeah, so, and she literally, it was like 2 minutes, I think. So, you know, maybe she could be. She looked fairly confident, but obviously coming into a match that's already were we 1-0 down at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming into a match where you're already 1-0 down, that's quite a big responsibility to then have to not let any more goals in and be that last line of defence when you've not had a proper one.
Yeah, and you'd definitely be nervous coming in, wouldn't you? That's kind of a natural thing. However, there was the moment. I'm going to blame the commentator for this because he said, "You can tell with Aston Villa something's coming." Another Everton goal. So thank you to whoever's commentating that one. So we'll talk about it. So Caitlin Talbot had come on. And then 60 minutes, the second goal happened not too long after she came on. And it was a gift, essentially, wasn't it, to Everton? Now, it did come from some lovely play down the right by Tony Payne. We will give her that. She then tries to pass it back out. I think it was to Hayley Ladd, I believe, who crossed it back into the box. Talbot gets it in between her hands. The ball slips. And it felt like it was like an awkward, like rugby ball bounce, wasn't it? It just didn't quite, it like bobbled away. She scrambled to it, ended up, she like hit it back, didn't she? Instead of trying to grab it again. Unfortunately, when she did that, it went onto the feet of Hayashi, who then, of course, takes a chance, converts, and it's hit the roof of the net. And you just thought, oh, you saw everyone, didn't you? Just kind of go, no, what is that? What is happening? Lindsay at that point, 2-0 down, can't really convert the chances. What were you thinking?
Well, she'd fumbled and dropped a ball previous to that, and I was sat next to Bingo Bob, and we both thought, let's just hope it's nerves, because when she came on, Rach came over and gave her a pep talk, and we were like, just hoping it's just nerves.
Okay, good, yeah.
But we were like, we just hope this isn't the start of how it's to be. But the problem I've got is that me personally, I would have kept Sophia. I would never have sent her on loan. So me personally,
she's not even playing.
It should have been Sophia going out there, because Sophia's game has improved so much since her debut that I'd love to have seen her out there playing and getting minutes while Sab's out injured, for duration. Hopefully she'll be back soon, but like however long she's out for, and give Sophia minutes. And I think that'd be really good. So I'm really biased because I'm not too pro Talbot, but because I want Paul there.
Yeah,
isn't the answer.
And plus she's had more time with the back line.
Yeah, and she communicates really well, and they all kind of know where everything is. We noticed that when she played, how like she was talking so much more, and getting to all communicate and everything and shouting at them, but that Daphne didn't do. So there is positives, but yeah,
it's not the situation any of us would have imagined, because you all kind of went, yeah, Sophia's going to get minutes, she's going to get cup games, she's going to get this, she's going to get that, and you just think, well, what?
I agree with what Sophie said though about, like, even though she spilled the ball, the Everton forwards were in the right position. They were there waiting for that opportunity. And again, our defenders just weren't quick enough on it.
No, I do have to say though, when Kelly Gargo could have made it 3, and Patsy managed to get all the way back and make that angle as small as possible, I was like, yeah, Patsy, well done. Well done for that one, because we've seen what Kelly Gargo can do. So the fact that she was able to not make it 3-0 was brilliant. And I'll just skip forward on my notes.
It's like when it was 1-0, I think it was when it was 1-0, we had that sort of weird, I don't even remember if we got the ball, but it was like, it must have been fairly early on, because Chastity sort of came flying in like she was doing some sort of karate kick and tried to get it in the I don't know if I made that up. Was it even Chastity? I don't know.
Hang on, start that again. Who's doing karate kicks?
We played a ball into the box, and Chastity like very nearly got on the end of it, and like sort of
Oh,
leapt
and
in
did
the
like
air.
a half like leap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
she
you just
did.
think like, you know, if that move had come off when it, and we could have, if we could have got back to 1-1, I just
Yeah.
feel like it would have given them that little bit of.
Different mentality.
But
Yeah.
you know, as soon as we go 2-0 down, you're just like, I can't even see where one goal is going to come from, let alone 3.
Yeah. Hey,
And,
so
and if that's obvious to us, that must be what they're feeling like as well.
yeah. And that's the thing, you know, we've never played at that level. We
Mm.
you know that. And it's very easy to sit on the sidelines and say
Yeah.
it, but you know, you just hope that someone in the team, the squad, the staff, you know, someone, they're also having these conversations and thinking, okay, well, you know, if what can we do to change it? Because it's so something needs a massive shakeup, a complete massive overhaul. But yeah, it's just something's not working, is it? Now, as usual, Villa did find a bit of fight after that second goal went in. Jill Byings, who I think is, you know, one of our best players ever since she's come back to fitness, trying to look from the edge of the box. And again, she did that a couple of times. So let's talk about subs. I know we've got a few thoughts. At the 65th minute, you know, bit after the 60th, I genuinely thought, and I think most people did too, we were going to see Kirsty and Lucy Parker come on. Could have bet money on it. Nope. We got Ebony Salmon and Missy Ball-Kearns coming on for Jordan and Katie Robinson. I can understand the Robbo substitute, but Jordan was playing quite well. So I don't know. Has anyone got any other thoughts about those two subs?
I just, yeah. You could see who was warming up. And then I think there was some sort of delay in the game, maybe. And then, you know, the fourth official was sorting out the numbers on the board. And I looked up and you just saw Jordan look over at the bench. And I was like, surely not. Like, surely that's not about to happen.
Yeah.
And then the board goes up with the red 8 on it. And you're like, what are we doing?
Yeah, like, what? Why was she brought up? And you just think there's planned subs, and again, it feels like we talk about this all the time. There might be planned subs during a game, but if something's changed, something's different, and you've got someone like Jordan playing the way she was, surely you'd go, I can't take her off, right? Get someone else warming up.
Like most of the games we play, Jordan is one of our best players on the pitch.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah. And also, I think maybe, like, we wanted to see Lucy Parker on. I was hoping that maybe we would see, not necessarily change up the back line, because we saw against Leicester that was a bit of that didn't really work. But maybe take Miri off and play Lucy ahead of, you know, just in that defensive midfield role, just ahead of Patsy and Dan.
Yeah.
And then you've got that, you know, like, you've got that ability for her to make the play happen forwards, but also then to drop back if we need to, or to drop back and let, you know, Sarah and Noelle push a bit higher up. I wanted to see Lucy on the pitch, basically, and I thought that would have, I was hoping maybe we'd see that, and we didn't, and then it was Jordan that came off in the midfield instead of Miri, and I was just like, what's happening? Also, maybe I wonder if Dan perhaps should have come off after the incident with Sabs, because that's, you know, that's got to, like, shake you up a bit as well, knowing that obviously it wasn't intentional, but, you know, that's your friend that you've just nearly knocked out. Your head's going to be, like, not fully in what it was a minute ago.
Yeah, because then you'd be thinking, you know, even more guarded, like, oh God, you know, am I going to go in for that tackle? Am I not? What else can happen? And, you know, not that she would just start, you know, Just think of the Scary Movie 4 when, never mind. But that's what's going to go around, just like kicking everyone, just because she's done that one thing. But yeah, that would be kind of playing like in the back of your mind, wouldn't it? And I know Nick in the chat saying that as well. And you just think, could that have been an opportunity, like you say, or bring her, in that more defensive midfield role, and just like there's options. It doesn't just have to be you play here. When people physically can play in other
I was
areas.
also surprised to see Ebony come on out wide ahead of Kirsty. But Sophie's just mentioned in there, obviously, Kirsty did play
Yes.
2 nearly 4 games for Scotland over the international break. So
and that's the thing, like we never want players to kind of put the football first. Like we always want them to play put themselves first. So if she has, then yeah, like limit that. We'll never begrudge her for that. And we just want her to play like the right ratio, don't we, of what she's able to do. And yeah, I think just bringing those subs on. I mean, I do have to sing Ebony's praises though, because and I know Sophie put that in the chat as well. As soon as she came on, that was that attack and that was that fighting spark we needed, because it felt like for much of the game, and I know we've mentioned it briefly, people weren't moving, they weren't creating options, they weren't moving into space. It just felt like they wanted to gather around and have a little chat. And it's like, no, move. Move into space. You need to create something. And towards the end of the game as well, she was the one with all the shots, the crosses, the chances. And you just think, if Ebony's coming on with a purpose here, and maybe everyone else kind of needs that as well. Maybe needs that back.
Yeah, it's like we were saying. Like we do all of that in the last sort of 10-15 minutes, and you're like, this would be fine if it was 1-0.
Yeah,
but we just it's always too late, and you're just never gonna, like, even if we had scored, you just, I don't know.
Yeah, because I've got there, Chastity almost gets a chance from the tap in with like the half stag leap that we talked about from Daly's cross, but just couldn't get the angle right. Last 20 minutes were a lot more positive, more attacking. Lindsay, I'll come to you for this one. Again, we had 2 more subs. We had Kirsty and Gabby coming on for Miri and Chastity. Why do you think, especially in that last 20 minutes, especially 15, 20 minutes, why do you think that has become the Villa way of, we'll go at like a snail pace for the majority of the match, and then intensity hits the last 10, 15 minutes? Like, it doesn't make sense, does it?
I don't know why they came on at 79 minutes. It was too late to put them on to make enough of a difference when you're 2-0 down. If we're 1-0 down, then fair enough. But I don't know if they're just doing like, we'll do a little, a gentle sub and a gentle sub, and we'll try and change it as not to ruin the equilibrium and make it worse. But when you're 2-0 down, like, does it really matter? Just go for it or go home. Either you get something out of it or you're not. So for me, it seems a bit pointless. And the subs that she'd done earlier didn't make sense. I would have done it the other way around to make more of an impact. But Ebony came on, and to give her credit, she was probably the only one that was actually making a difference or making an impact on the game in that second half, that actually did something. And you could see the tempo change when she came on. But other than that, all the other subs didn't really. I don't know if it's just me being cold and not with it, but like, I didn't really see much difference.
No, and that's the thing. You make subs for impact, don't you? And they didn't. And yeah, like I was saying earlier as well, like Ebony was that bright spark when she came on. Gary has just put the Maritz has definitely been struggling recently. And is it time? Because Paola's been missing. Paola was starting for quite a while. So do we think, again, is it time to actually bring Paola back, or at least get her on the pitch? Anyone got any thoughts?
Yes.
She's
an attacking threat as well. Like, yes, she's a defender, but she's also an attacking threat. And maybe teams won't expect that. maybe that's what we need. Who knows?
It's a little bit confused. Like, I don't even. It's only been since Natalia's been there that she's been dropped. She was still playing when Sean was calling the shots, wasn't she?
Yeah. It's only been very recently.
I mean, not that she would pick her because she's also Spanish, but it's just weird that she's not being picked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's it. You think if anything, they'd have a connection. Hey, that's what.
Yeah.
Now Nick's put there. This was going to be my next thought actually. Missy did a lot better than I thought she would. Yeah,
because
initially coming back, we've seen her come back from injury, and you think, what's she going to be like? We saw her play for the under-23s, and she was, doing some really good things, and we've all been saying, I wish we could see that in the WSL. I wish we could, replicate that. And then as soon as she came on, I was like, again, is that the right sub? What's she going to bring? But then, yeah, she was. I mean, she even had a chance, didn't she, in the last moment? And you just thought, yeah, we need more of that. We need more, progressive player. Tracy in the chat. Good evening, Tracy. And says again, as we say all the time, I just can't work out why we're a completely different team when we play Chelsea. It's that almost we've got nothing to lose, and now we're right at the bottom of the table. We literally have everything to lose here. Like, fight for it more.
I said it before, but I think we play better when we don't have the ball. Like when we play counter-attacking football, we don't have time to overthink it and
yes,
pass it back amongst ourselves. And if there's a better team coming at us for most of the game, and then we get the odd opportunity to break forward, we're quite good at that.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And like, as we keep saying, possession means nothing. Like, if you can't get that ball in the back of the net. But yeah, I definitely think I really like what you said about overthinking, because you can see their cogs, you can hear their cogs turning as they're playing. And you just think, yeah, maybe less time on the ball would actually improve, which we didn't think we would be saying. So we've talked about, again, people not really moving, lack of creativity. There seemed to be a lot more joy down the right than the left as well. And you just think, again, as a player, especially someone at the back, like Lucy Parker, like a goalkeeper, should be saying, right, we're doing nothing down that left. Get it down at, like, switch it up, do something rather than just trying again, hope for the best. Now, one of the questions we had online on social, so again, thank you to people who've been sending prompts and to talk about, was that, should we have actually brought in a new coach at this point of the season? Because we've seen Liverpool, part ways with Matt Beard, Crystal Palace has lost Kaminsky, and you just think at such a crucial time, should that have happened, or should we have just stayed with Sean to get the right person for the next season? Emma, I can see you shaking your head a little bit there. What do you think about this one?
I personally think, like I said at the start, it's just been too much change. So, like, maybe look at Natalia and bring her in the summer. Maybe that would have been a better option. But considering we were getting results with Sean, like, because was it Bristol and Crystal Palace that we played, as well as Everton, but we won the 2 of the 3. Like,
Charlton?
We hadn't lost the game. We drew against Everton, and even so, for then having to bring them back into another coach, and especially when Chelsea was the first game, so especially when you've got Chelsea for the first game as well, again, like, I just think it's team. They hadn't got used to Roberts, like, because I don't think anyone knew what he was trying to do. But they then obviously got in with Sean. Kind of, he knew the players, they knew what he was expecting of them. And then now we've got Natalia, and it's just like, I don't think the girls know whether they're coming, going, or gone at this point. Anyway,
And
just
some
like-
have. It's Lindsay, have you got any thoughts about the manager situation? No, I'm not calling for her to be sacked, by the way. I just want to later, but
I agree with them. I think the girls just don't know what to do. It's like they've got so much information being fed at them, and they want to deliver because they're all good professional players and they want to do well and they want to succeed, and they're frustrated where they are in the league, but it just seems like an overload. Last season there were too many chiefs stirring the pot and it was muddy in the water, so you could see the cogs going on the pitch and they were like, do we go for that ball, do we not go for that ball? And it's the same thing this season. I don't know if it's the management change or what, but I just feel really sorry for them because they're just all so unhappy, and I just want to make them all happy. I just want to like go, here you go girls, here's some chocolate, you can make it better. But they just look so frustrated. And it's not working on the pitch either. They're not clicking, and it's a management issue because they clicked before and they're not now.
Yeah, and you think it's pretty much the same players. So you know what is it? And yeah, probably the start of the season didn't help much. Nick agrees, saying yeah, Sean's an attacking coach and attack.
No, I think she's saying the opposite.
What?
I don't think keeping Sean is the answer.
Yeah, Sean was never the answer. So yes, it was the right time to get rid. And
I'm following.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, because he's been there all season.
However, Sophie's put the results with Sean were mostly against lower teams. The only WSL team we beat was West Ham. So again, compared to
Let's not think about
that. We need stats. Yeah, Tracy's saying, look, at the end of the day, even if you're not a forward, if the opportunity arises, just go for it. Yeah. And that's what we need. She says, you know, Sarah Millen had an opportunity, instead passed to Daly. Nothing came of it. And that's the thing we need. I mean, if you look at Everton, you look at Chelsea, Arsenal, blah, blah, blah. Like anyone can score from any position and everyone's a threat. And everyone has kind of the license to go for it. So you hope that they feel they do have the freedom to go for it.
Yeah, I think
it feels like they're very.
That's what we were saying sort of earlier with the example of, I think Tracy's mentioned probably the same one, where you know it's all like so choreographed. It's obvious what we're going to do. We're sort of telegraphing it to the opposition. We're going to go down the wings and then we're going to recycle it a bit, and then eventually what we're going to try and do is put a ball in and Rachel's going to try and score. And like it's like she said there, that they do all of that, and then in the end they're waiting for the perfect opportunity to put the ball in for Rachel.
Yeah.
To have a go. And you think, like, when was the last time Jordan took a shot at goal? Or, someone just had a go. And I do think that must come down, like, our whole attacking build-up play. Surely that's got to come down to the attacking coach.
Yeah, no, you're right. And during this game particularly, Jill and Jordan had some shots from distance, didn't they? But they didn't really like.
Jill had a couple that just went wildly over the bar, didn't they?
Yeah, just if she was like, I'll have a goal, which great, have a goal. But yeah, that happened for both of them a few times, and you think, okay, well, that's not working now. Can we get a bit nearer, just a bit more. But yeah, no shots with conviction.
Yeah, it's like obviously, clearly they're trying to implement a style of football where it's all possession based. But
that doesn't get us points.
And that's the thing, and it's just it's not working.
And I don't necessarily think we've got the right players for that style of.
And when
I know, they haven't had the window to, even if the money was available, which I don't know if it is, to go shopping for players that would fit their style of play that they want. But I don't think it works trying to make the players you've got fit
into a system that, because even looking like there was 8 minutes of added time, and it just felt like it trailed off again. That they were just like, okay, well, it's 2-0. That's like no, keep going. But yeah, I mean, Gabby was non-existent when she came on, and we've said subs at 80 minutes on, especially in a game like that where it's hard to get anything. It's just it's not enough, is it? So yeah, it was just a bit of a. It seems to be dramatic if I say it was a bit of a letdown, but we were so convinced we'd get at least a point. So to then when the final whistle went and it was 2-0 and you were like, oh, okay. Because the final minute was, did Rach have one last chance? She did, didn't she? I think again, header it in. And you just saw, as soon as it went wide and you just saw a reaction, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. I think as well, oh, the heating's on. Just touched the radiator. Jonathan over on Twitter was saying, I think, during the game on Sunday, because of the defeat to Leicester, we were hoping that they were going to come out, all fired up, got a point to prove, and it just didn't materialise. I can't say that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that's maybe why it did feel like such a letdown almost, because you were hoping for that bit extra because of how badly the previous game had gone.
Yeah, you wanted them to come out with
is
a bit
this all we've got?
Yeah, is this, where's the next gear? We never really got out of third, really, did we? Going up a massive hill and just couldn't do it. On for any of the drivers out there you go. Now we did have a comment on socials again. Thank you for this one from AVWSC Lionesses, who said, "When was the last time we offered a contract extension to someone? How many players' contracts are going to expire? Are we not planning to secure anyone before the end of the season, or do we need a huge squad overhaul?" Now, we've talked about this before, haven't we? And I think we've got 1,001 players out of contract at the end of the season. But it's pretty much the squad, isn't it? Apart from a couple of triggers. We've had a couple of triggers, haven't we, for the extra year? But even then, a lot are coming up. So it does make you think then, do we think there will be a massive overhaul and some players will be let go and we'll get a lot of new faces in the summer? Or what do you think? Do you think those conversations are actually happening? Lindsay, I'll come to you for that one. Do you think they're actually going on behind the scenes? Or do you think it's going to be brand new Villa come next season?
Well, if we look in the past, when we've had people that do extensions or have been loan players and we've kept them on, it's almost like a good few weeks into the summer window, we've actually done something about it. And the players themselves, when they've been asked, have said, we don't know if we're staying or we're going at the end of the season. And it's like, it would be good to retain some of the talent, but I'm just worried that we're going to be left with all the Robert signings from the summer, which aren't for our style of play. We're going to lose, because of our form and the setup and the unhappiness, we're going to lose good quality players, and then we're going to be left with players that we don't really need for our style of play, and then we're going to make them fit in another team, and we're going to rebuild the team. It seems a really backward way of doing it, but I'm hoping for positives that they are negotiating and they're looking for new players, because Natalia said about we have to be aggressive with our window and looking for players, but I think I'm being very optimistic, and I don't think anything's happening, and it won't happen until August.
There must be some
years before it starts again. Yeah,
there must be an element as well of players holding out to see where we end up.
Well, that's the thing, because we've got quite a few players who, nothing against them, but they're WSL players. They're not going to go with the team to the championship. So probably looking to jump ship. It's going to be an interesting window, an interesting summer. Because as a player, you know where you want to be, you know where you want to play, you know what your standards are. I think some who've been with the team quite a while, I think they would stay, and they would kind of see out maybe their playing years, shall we say?
I suppose that's one silver lining to having let Kenza and Dree go now, is at least they've got money for.
Yes. yeah. So as much as we didn't want them to, maybe if things did go sour,
Like you say, we're going to go anyway in the summer.
yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, at least more money in the pot. We'll have a whip round for the rest of the window, because I think I think we need it. But yeah, interestingly though, Nick's put there. I don't think the onslaught on social media is helping player morale. Fans are being very salty at the minute and need to do better. Yes, they do. We talk about it, don't we? And we critique, but we're never nasty about it. We're open to what's actually going on and the reasons behind it, and just discuss it with, hopefully some constructive criticism. So yeah, fans need to do much better, not just Villa fans, but fans in general. There's been some horrendous things online, and you just think, is that really what your life's about? Just slating other people and hating every single thing that happens? I don't know who's got that energy, to be honest. I really, really, really don't. So end of the match, left at 2-0, and unfortunately, we are still in that penultimate spot table.
I think you mentioned at the start earlier on, Emma, about you were like, the crux of it is we haven't scored enough goals. So I was looking at like the goal difference. I can't remember who. Someone quite a lot further up the table than us. Maybe Spurs, maybe not. Like, our goal difference is the worst in the league. Second worst in the league, sorry. But there's only one difference between us and, like, we're on minus 14, I think. And they're on minus 13. But they're about, they're halfway up the league.
Spurs you're talking about, minus 13. Yep. And they're 7th.
It's just they're managing to score enough so that the results go their way, even though they are also conceding. But the results are landing the opposite way for us. Even though goal differences aren't all that different.
Yeah, Spurs have got, so just for reference, Spurs have got 24 and 33 against, and we've got 15-4 and 29 against. So yeah. So, I mean, if it does go down, Crystal Palace do have a worse goal difference. So unless they manage to get 13 goals from somewhere, I think we should still be safe, but we can't rest on anything, of course. Because, so we're in 11th place with 10 points. Leicester are now on 12. They're pulling away in 10th. West Ham are on 15 points.
Playing really well at the moment as well.
Annoyingly, yeah.
Down
them. Because at the weekend, it was, everyone else has lost around us as well. That's quite nice. But then, of course, Leicester and West Ham had games midweek, didn't they? So they actually played last night, and that's where...
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
That's what changed as well. Yeah, and West Ham managed a point, didn't they, against City? So yeah, doing very, very well indeed. Now, the last thing we'll talk about game-wise, Emma, did you have some good commentary corners for us?
Yeah, I even had one from the City game.
I was going to say good ones only.
I might actually read these with my spelling, so I apologise.
Oh, dear. Okay. I'm just going to hide that.
So we didn't have an ex-Arsenal player this week, but we had an ex-Everton. So Dan Turner was the ex-Everton player, and they liked to tell us that. Whoa, what is this?
About it, so. How about this one? Ooh. Yay! There we go. That's better. There we go.
That's better. I was all of a sudden massive on my screen, and I wasn't prepared for that.
Okay, so Dan Turner's ex-Everton. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and they liked to tell. This isn't really a commentary corner, but they said that we'd been unlucky in most of our games, which is very true. However, we just sit back and we don't learn from it. So, it's one of those things. But I actually agreed with that. Then there was a moment where Noel had the ball and the commentator confidently said, "This is Robinson."
Oops.
Not quite. Not. I mean, one's got curly hair, one's got. But anywho, then there was a. I can't talk. Hayley Ladd took Daly out at the knees, and then the commentator went, "Oh, I feel."
As you were.
She's so cute.
The commentator said, "I feel for Hayley Ladd." Oh, but like she'd just taken Daly out at the knees. None. I don't feel sorry for her. She deserved it. She deserved the booking. She deserved the talking to. Whatever she got, she deserved to be taken out by the knees herself. Personally, but anyway.
Just we do not condone taking people out by the knees. Just as a disclaimer, thank you.
And then something happened with Miri Taylor, and then he goes, "Miri Taylor, the perpetrator." What?
What sassy's that?
The perpetrator.
The perpetrator. I think we should just call her that now. Like her superhero name is the perpetrator.
Do you reckon Tracy will do that on a scarf for us?
Yeah, Tracy, can you get the scarf form back up, please? Perpetrator. I love it. Okay.
And then I don't remember what happened here, but there was clearly a foul. And then the commentator got a card here. No, just a warning. It was like a whole roller coaster.
Like he was debating whether he would give a card or not.
Yes, you watched the ref do it. It was when I think it was Patsy. Was it Patsy? Patsy had done something. I mean, she did leave a leg in.
Yes.
And then the ref was just like, went to the pocket. I'll call her back. You're fine. Yeah. There's a whole thing.
And then the last one was from the City game last night, and City have a new manager. If you didn't know, it's Gareth Southgate, because he made a change for City.
Do they?
Yeah.
No, but apparently,
it was so funny. It was like, Gareth Southgate's about to make a new change. It was like, sorry?
I think I saw somebody else vaguely mention that. It makes sense now.
We had to wind
I
it
did
back to
wonder
double
what it
check.
was about.
I was going to say, just to confirm, everyone, Gareth Southgate is not the new Man City manager. Or the commentator on the stream did genuinely believe that it was Gareth Southgate on the stream.
But yeah, that's all. That's all from me.
Right, okay. And with a cough, you're done. Lovely. Right, okay. That's it. The cough signal at the end. Wonderful. Now, thank you very much. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about, Lindsay, we're handing over to you for this one, because the weekend was very special, because the Unite for Access level the playing fields. It was their I was going to say landmark. That's not the right word, is it? But it was their game to kind of take ownership and kind of show off their help. What am I trying to say, Lindsay? It was this weekend.
So this weekend, it's the Level Playing Field project, which is running from the 1st of March to the 15th or 16th of March, to raise awareness of inclusion for disabled fans, and basically literally level the playing field so they can access the games and be involved, raising awareness with the clubs so that they can make things better on match days for them. And as the fan club, as the disability officer, I've been working quite closely with Aston Villa. Big shout out to Anthony and shout out to Emily Peacock for approaching me and allowing me to work with them on this project. And they asked us to nominate some members of our fan club. who would go down the pitch before the match and be presented with some signed shirts by the players, and stand with the level playing field flag and everything, and just raise awareness for their own disabilities, but also to show that we have disabled fans at the games, and so that other people, if they're watching from home and are like, I can't go because in a wheelchair, I've got invisible disabilities, or I've got another disability, like I can't go, to make them feel that there are other people that have the same condition and can go. So to try and make it like more accessible and encourage people to be involved, because if you look at the dynamics of the women's game, there's a higher disability proportion compared to the men's game. Not just the higher care needs, where we need to make the adjustments rather than the lower care needs. So you can argue it. The men's game have more people there, but proportionally, like it's a family environment. We have lots of children there. There's lots of people with mental health, neurodiversity that do need the support. So so we sorted that, and I think we had 3 or 4 members of the fan club which were contacted, and they went down on the pitch and had their photo taken, and they've got some signed shirts on the way to them as a memento, and they got to go on the pitch before the game, which I know as any fan, if you get that opportunity, you jump at it. So it was really good, and it was great to work with Villa, and it's a project that we're working on long term with them, not just for this period of 2 weeks or so. We are working to improve the facilities and accessibility for disabled fans. So I've got my work cut out, but if anybody wants to fire me any information or anything, feedback, positive or negative, on disability access at games, things that could be improved, things that I've done really well, then I'm really open to it, and I'll feed that back to the club.
Yeah, it's all positive, isn't it? And it's like you said, it's making sure people are aware that despite any barriers that they may be facing, they are so more than welcome into women's football. Yeah, go.
And also there was a feature in the actual programme as well that they did, because they interviewed me for that. So I am that person. I just didn't want my photo put in there because I have a face for radio rather than a face for the programmes. There's lots of children there. I thought it'd be a bit scary to see my face.
It would have burst into flames. It just wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it. So there's a feature. So it's good that there was the awareness. If you missed the presentation, which a lot of us did, then you would actually be able to read it in the programme. Which again, we do go home after the game. We do read the programmes. We do take time to do stuff like that. So again, it's just raising awareness for disability and inclusion.
100%. And I know this is only a minute thing, but like when we were going to matches together, it was even simple things like, well, where's the nearest drop curb? Yeah. Does that one match up with that one? And it was little things that, as a able-bodied person, you might not even think about. But now as someone who has to negotiate a pram as well, which I know is not the same wavelength, but you start to think about all these accessibility issues for the first time. And it's, if you're just not in that mindset, you don't think about it, do you? But having more awareness, then hopefully more people will get into that mindset and will hopefully make it better for everyone and come and support games. Yeah.
As I say, we are now on, as a fan club, we are now on the accessibility statement for Aston Villa. So if anybody watching wants to contact us, my details are on there, and just fire us an email over and I'll happily reply.
Look at you go. Very proud of you. No, it's fantastic, Lindsay. Well done. It really is. Now what we're going to do, because thank you to everyone who has watched and listened. We do have a game at the weekend, and we are only going to talk about it briefly because tomorrow night we are going live once more, and we're teaming up with our friend Crunk again, fantastic Crunk, Man City fan, and we're going to do an in-depth preview there. So we're going to talk about it quickly now, but yes, join us again tomorrow night. I believe we said 8:30, but again, look out for that on socials. At the moment, it should be me and Gary, if Gary's still up for it, and someone else who's yet to confirm if they want to come on with us or not. So in-depth preview tomorrow night, everyone, at 8:30. But we need to talk about it. We have our quarter final of the FA Cup, don't we, coming up? Unfortunately, it's against Man City. Now, we've done it before. But the question is, at this precise moment, looking at how City are as well, they do have players that they can rotate. They do have the depth. Emma, how you feeling about the weekend?
Slightly worried.
Slightly worried.
Not even worried. Worried. Move the slightly.
No, slightly's fine. Slightly's fine. Because that's still a bit of optimism.
I mean, we did it before though. Yeah, it's the glimpse of optimism. We've done it before, and it was at this exact same time, I think, wasn't it? In the quarter, we drew Chelsea in the semis and got knocked out by a beautiful Sam Kerr goal.
Yeah,
it was just the one. I remember that one goal. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It can be done, but we are very much aware. Reality, the odds are stacked against us. Emily, how are you feeling about the weekend?
I don't know. Really,
we're in limbo as a club, aren't we?
Like Sunday afternoon, if you'd have asked me, I'd have been like, no, it's going to be rubbish. And then I think it's a human condition, isn't it? Where you only remember the good bits or the possibilities.
Yeah.
And as the week's gone on, I'm like, well, maybe we will. Maybe it'll be, maybe we'll just, I don't know, maybe it'll click. I've been saying that since I think we played Chelsea in the first game of the season. Maybe it'll click. But maybe it will. I don't know. I just think it would be very funny if we managed to get to imagine if we win the FA Cup but also go down.
Get relegated.
At least we'd win something. And then that means next year we could win something too, because we could come back up.
We could come back up.
That's the master plan, actually.
Okay, so is this what we're fighting for now?
Yeah.
So we're going to win. We're going to get relegated, but then we're going to get promoted.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can yo-yo ourselves back up and prepare again.
We need to make sure that they've decided they're not going to close the leagues before we go down, because then we'll be stuck there forever.
Well, they can't do that until...
So this season's fine. This is fine.
This season's fine, yeah. They they backtracked. They said that this leak, they need to sort out where the leak is, but it's intentional. It's got to be
probably in the kitchen.
Just chilling.
With the onion.
They said it was going to be for 4 consecutive seasons until the league is big enough that they were going to scrap relegation. So you can still get promoted, you just can't get relegated.
Mm-hmm.
But they then said, was it today? Oh no, that's not on the table.
Oh.
Which I don't believe them.
The leak was on the table.
The what's in it? The leak? No, the leek. The leek is in the salad.
What?
Yeah, it's a vegetable. Do you not have leeks in your salad?
No.
How about a soup? Would you like a leek in your soup? There we go. There we go. Hey, we're descending into madness. And that's it. So, Gary, however, positive as ever in the chat. I'm not worried about the weekend. It's a one-shot game and league form doesn't count. Perfect.
Although, City didn't start Bunny or Viv yesterday, though, did they? They're clearly resting it for the big guns, which is us. Resting them, sorry.
Yeah, we can take a compliment for that they need the best players to beat
We'll
us.
ignore the fact that they probably think they can't win the league now, so they're focusing on, winning the FA Cup. Yeah. And we'll just say they're doing it specifically because they're playing us.
Nick has said, though, I haven't actually managed to catch this myself, so I'm putting all my trust in you, Nick. Natalia essentially hinted to not caring about the cup in post-match. City rested attackers midweek and fighting for silverware. We've got no chance. There's the positivity. That's what we need to go through. Lindsay, where are you on the delusion to reality train line?
For the game and the cup and the league?
Wherever you like, wherever you want your train to take you.
Well, I'd like us to win the league, to be fair.
The league, yeah?
Win the league.
That's doable.
Win the league, win the cup, win everything, and Man United get relegated.
Imagine. I mean, I mean, the laws of physics and mathematics would have to go completely against.
I'm dyslexic. It works.
What if they discovered that actually they've been playing ineligible players all year and they just forfeit all their points?
Yes.
They forgot to sign some paperwork or something.
Gareth Southgate forgot to sign the paperwork.
Or tell us Joyce, actually wait, no, because you'd never know what she would have conceded. Anyway.
Well, if she hadn't have played, she would have
Exactly.
conceded all of them. So there we go. No, you're absolutely right. Now, Tracy, on the other hand, has said, well, if we win the FA Cup and stay up, can you imagine the confidence boost that would give us? I mean, that would be perfect, wouldn't it? Staying up and getting the cup.
I mean, we'd probably still play like this, to be fair.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
No, I don't want to be real. Sophie, however, Sophie with the stats, apparently we only have a 7% chance of being relegated.
Yay!
Oh.
7%.
Who's got the
That's promising.
23%? City.
They've been relegated.
Yeah. Because we're winning the league, remember?
Oh, who knows? Who knows anymore? What is happening? So I mean, again, we're going back to that goal difference. Not a chance if we are on the same points. Can Palace make it up? But I'm touching wood, so that can't, I didn't jinx myself. It's fine. However, when we do come back after this little break, Sunday the 16th, we are away to Crystal Palace. And then we're at home to United, away to Liverpool. Hang on. Bear with.
Spurs. At home to Arsenal.
At home to Arsenal. Away to West Ham. And then at home to Brighton on the last day. So no game is easy in the league, of course. But yeah, we need to nick points off someone, because we all know what Palace are capable of doing. But I want to leave with the final thing that Gary said, let's just concentrate on beating City and hitting the semi-final hard. Mm-hmm. And that should be the thought that we take into the weekend. And that's where the positivity is going to be. Now, I think that's everything I had. Has anyone got anything else they want to share before we go?
I don't think so.
Emily's like, yes, I always think of something.
Yeah, I don't know. My cat's having a wash next to me and it's kind of distracted me.
It's throwing you off the villa train.
It's okay
if you haven't. We can.
I don't think I do. I don't think so.
Fan dabby dozy indeed. Well, let's leave that one there then. But thank you so much to everyone watching, listening on catch up, everyone in the chat. You know how much we love and appreciate you. You're gonna see some graphics come up at the end. This is where you can follow us across all socials, and of course our personal tags have been up the entire time as well. So thank you very much. Hopefully we get a win on Sunday, and remember to tune in tomorrow night. We're going to go on live with Crunk to talk even more in depth about our FA Cup matchup. So goodbye from us here. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you again at 8 o'clock next week. Thank you very much. Good evening.